the debates over the flag have been going on for decades, and in the late 1980s, early 1990s, the museum decided that the most constructive thing we could do to help people understand, and ultimately that's what this is all about. We want, because the debates are going on about this, and clearly not everyone agrees with you, as much as each of us would like to think that everyone thinks as I do, that my perception of what the flag means is the meaning of the flag, and why can't everybody else understand? We know intuitively that that's not the case, that other people don't share our perception, and we can either yell at them and tell them and say that they need to be properly educated, or we can try to understand why their perception of the flag is not the same as ours. The perceptions that people have of this flag are not the products of their imagination. They're not making it up. They're not just trying to be quarrelsome. These perceptions are based on reality, on real use over time. Is it a flag of heritage? Yes. There are people for whom it means it is a venerated symbol of their ancestors, people who believe that we can and should always honor the service of fighting men, regardless of what we might think of their cause, that we owe it to American servicemen who gave their lives for their cause to honor them and to honor the flag that is associated with them. That is a very sincere and strongly held viewpoint. But similarly, there are people who have confronted that flag firsthand in the hands of people who meant to do them harm, or at least meant to deny them their basic civil rights. For the people who encountered that flag during the civil rights movement, it was used by people who clearly opposed their campaign for full citizenship rights. So what are they to think of the meaning of that flag? It's not a product of their imagination, it's a product of their experience. So all of those perceptions are based on meanings that are based on experience and actual use. Because the flag lived after 1865 and was available to be used and abused and misused, according to the people who once owned the flag, the heritage organizations that once owned that symbol, at one time were trying mightily to prevent the flag from being used outside of a strictly memorial context, because they understood that the more widely used it was, the more liable it was to accumulate new uses, new meanings, and to feed new perceptions. What we tried to do at the museum was to do what a museum and a historical and a scholarly organization should do, which is, rather than ratcheting up the debate and get involved in the debate and just be another voice in the cacophony, especially today with social media, when everyone has an opinion that can be broadcast, isn't it more constructive for us to establish the historical background and perspective to allow other people to better understand the issue? So we created an exhibit in 1993 called Embattled Emblem that ran for 2 years here at the museum. And the South Carolina State Museum borrowed that exhibit, and it was at that museum for about 6 months in 1995 during one of the several rounds of debate over the flag of the battle flag in South Carolina, over the South Carolina State Capitol Dome at that point. And we have an exhibit now here at the museum that we created for our Appomattox branch in 2012, and it's on display now, that gives background about the evolution of the flag, both during its wartime context and in its post-war context. Once again, its purpose is the same as it was back in 1993, and it's the same purpose for the book that I wrote, published in 2005, which grew out of this exhibit, which is to offer background information that will help people understand better what's going on and to formulate their own opinions about what should be done, rather than trying to dictate to them what should be done.